Okay, so social media, right? I mean, it's everywhere. You practically can't avoid it. But have you ever thought about how it's affecting us, like our mental health?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wild. Like, there are so many layers to it, and that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into a script called Connected But Alone.
Hmm. Interesting.
It really gets into the whole impact of social media on our mental health. What do you think about that title?
You know, connected but alone, it's pretty thought-provoking, isn't it? It
Yeah.
kind of hints at that sort of underlying tension.
Uh-huh.
We're more connected than ever, but are we? Really?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that the script starts by talking about the good stuff first.
Oh, yeah, the positives. I was going to say, it's not all bad,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The script even talks about how it can help us, stay connected, build communities.
Yeah, even like spark movements.
And so,
It's amazing to think about the power of online communities. Like we've seen social media fuel real change,
mm,
give voices to people who might not have been heard otherwise.
yeah,
Connect people across the globe who share common interests.
like finding your tribe, but online.
Exactly.
But here's where things get really fascinating to me.
Okay,
The script doesn't shy away from the downsides.
the dark side.
Yeah, the dark side.
Yeah.
It digs into all that stuff like anxiety, depression, the impact on our self-esteem, all the things that we kind of know are there, but we don't always want to admit it.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because of what the script calls the highlight reel.
Oh, the highlight reel.
It's like this constant barrage of everyone's best moments,
It's true, yeah.
making it look like everyone's life is perfect except for yours.
It's so easy to compare yourself, Like everyone else is on vacation and you're stuck at home.
And then there's that whole FOMO thing.
Oh, the fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. Yeah,
That's a big one.
it's real.
I used to think it was kind of a made-up thing, but the script really opened my eyes to how powerful it can be.
And it's not just some silly feeling.
Yeah.
It taps into this very basic human need for belonging. Like, we're social creatures, right?
Right.
And we have this deep-seated desire to be part of a group, to be accepted.
Yeah, to fit in.
Yeah, exactly. And social media kind of amplifies that need because we're constantly exposed to what everyone else is doing and experiencing.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
So then when you see all these people doing all this cool stuff, it makes you feel like you're missing out.
Right. And especially for younger people who are still figuring out who they are.
Oh, yeah. They're still developing their sense of self.
Exactly.
Yeah, that constant comparison's got to be tough.
It can be really damaging to their self-esteem.
Because it sets up this impossible standard, right?
Right. Like you're constantly measuring yourself against something that's not even real.
Okay, so it's not just about the comparison game, though.
What else is there?
The script also talks about how addictive social media can be.
Oh, yeah, the likes, the comments,
Yeah.
the need for validation.
Yeah. Like, I swear it's like a slot machine in your pocket.
Oh, that's a good analogy. You get that little dopamine hit every time you get a notification.
Right. And it keeps you coming back for more.
And to really understand that, you have to look at the brain chemistry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, dopamine is definitely a part of it.
Okay.
But there's a whole cocktail of neurochemicals at play.
Really?
Yeah. Things like oxytocin and serotonin, which are involved in social bonding and reward.
Interesting.
And get this, the algorithms behind these platforms.
Yeah.
They're designed to exploit these very mechanisms.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying social media is designed to keep us hooked?
Well, let's just say the algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, which often means keeping us on the platform as long as possible.
That's kind of unsettling when you think about it.
It is. And it brings up some big questions about control. Like, are we really in control of our social media use?
Right, right.
And that leads to another point that the script brings up, which is cyberbullying.
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one.
It's serious.
Yeah.
The script even calls it a digital plague.
Wow. And we all know it's a bad thing, but the script really drives home the impact it can have, especially on teenagers.
Yeah.
It's not just teasing or name-calling anymore.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal, and it can have lasting effects on their self-esteem and mental health.
And I think what a lot of people don't realize is how permanent those online posts can be.
Oh, right.
What might seem like a fleeting comment to the bully,
Mm-hmm.
the bully can stick with the victim forever.
Yeah. And the anonymity of the internet, it's like it gives people permission to be crueler than they would be in person.
You said it. It's like this shield that allows them to say and do things they wouldn't dream of doing face to face.
And it's not even just the direct attacks.
What do you mean?
I mean, I've definitely felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of negativity online sometimes, like all the arguments, the hateful comments, the never-ending stream of bad news.
It's like a constant assault on your senses.
It is.
And it's important to remember that what we consume online, it has a real physiological effect on our bodies.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Like when we're bombarded with negativity, it triggers our stress response.
Okay.
Our bodies start pumping out cortisol,
Uh,
which over time can contribute to anxiety, depression, even physical health problems.
wow, so it's like we're flooding our systems with digital toxins.
That's a good way to put it.
And then on top of all that, there's the whole sleep disruption thing.
Right. The script talks about how the blue light from our devices can mess with our melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep.
Yeah. I'm totally guilty of scrolling through my phone in bed and then wondering why I can't sleep.
It's a common problem.
So tell me more about this blue light thing.
Okay, so basically,
What's actually happening in our brains when we're staring at our screens at night?
well, think about it like this. Our brains have evolved over like thousands of years, right,
Uh,
to respond to natural light. So sunlight, it's full of blue light, which helps us wake up and feel alert during the day.
okay, yeah.
But then when the sun sets, that blue light decreases, signaling to our brains that it's time to wind down.
Right, to get ready for sleep.
Exactly. But then we come along with our phones and laptops.
And mess everything up.
Yeah, basically. We're bathed in this artificial blue light at night.
So we're tricking our brains into thinking it's still daytime.
Exactly. And that messes with our whole sleep-wake cycle, which has a huge impact on our mental health.
So it's not just about feeling tired.
No, not at all.
Mm.
Sleep deprivation, it can make existing conditions like anxiety and depression worse.
Really?
It can mess with our cognitive function, make it harder to control our emotions.
It's like a domino effect.
Exactly. One thing leads to another.
Okay, that's all pretty heavy stuff. But the script doesn't leave us hanging, does it? It actually gives us some practical tips for using social media in a way that's actually good for our mental health.
Right. It's not about giving it up completely. It's about finding a balance.
Okay, because I need all the help I can get.
Well, one of the first things the scripts suggest is limiting screen time.
Easier said than done, right?
I know, it's tough.
I feel like I've tried that before, but I always end up right back where I started, just scrolling.
It's like our phones have this magnetic pull.
They do.
But even small changes can make a difference. Have you ever tried using one of those screen time tracking apps?
I've seen those, yeah?
Some phones even have built-in features now that let you set daily limits for specific apps.
I think mine does, but honestly, I just ignore them.
Maybe give them another shot.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, what else does the script recommend?
It talks about being more mindful about what you follow.
Okay,
Like being intentional about filling your feed with positive content.
that makes sense.
So take a look at the accounts you're following.
Okay.
Which ones make you feel good?
Right.
And which ones leave you feeling kind of drained or inadequate?
That's a good point. It's like curating a mental diet.
Exactly. Just like with food, a little detox can go a long way.
A detox, like a break from
Into it.
social media.
Yeah, exactly. The script suggests taking digital detox breaks, even if it's just for a few hours a day.
So put down the phone, go for a walk, read a book.
Anything that doesn't involve staring at a screen?
I like the sound of that. But I'll be honest, the thought of being disconnected, even for a few hours, it makes me a little anxious.
I get it.
It's like I'm addicted to being connected.
It's understandable. We live in a hyper-connected world.
We do. It's like you have to be available all the time.
But it's so important to remember that disconnecting can actually be really restorative.
Okay.
It gives our brains a chance to rest, to process information, to recharge.
So it's not just about avoiding the negative stuff. It's also about giving yourself space to just be.
Exactly. And while you are online, remember the script's advice about being mindful of what you consume.
Oh, right.
Not everything you see on social media is real.
It's easy to forget that.
People often present these curated versions of themselves.
Yeah, like a highlight reel.
Right. So it's important to keep that in mind and not compare your everyday life to someone else's carefully constructed image.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, though, isn't it?
It is. But with a little awareness, we can start to break free.
Yeah. It's like comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's finished movie.
Exactly. And finally, the script reminds us that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
It's true.
Like, if social media is really messing with your mental health, don't hesitate to reach out to a therapist, a counselor, or even a trusted friend or family member.
Absolutely. Sometimes just talking about it can make a world of difference.
It can. What stands out to you the most from all of this?
I think for me, it's the emphasis on mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yeah.
It's not about demonizing social media.
Right.
It's about being aware of how we're using it.
And making conscious choices
Yeah.
that support our well-being.
It's a tool, like any other tool.
We have the power to choose how we use it.
This deep dive has really made me think about my own relationship with social media.
Me too.
It's so easy to get caught up in that comparison game, you know?
Okay.
The endless scrolling, the pressure to present this perfect version of yourself.
It's a trap we all fall into sometimes.
Yeah, but I think the script offers a really hopeful message.
I agree.
It's not about quitting social media altogether. It's about finding that balance, being mindful, and prioritizing our mental health.
It's about taking back control.
Exactly. And remember that powerful line at the end of the script.
Your mental health matters.
So simple, but so important to remember.
It really is.
Your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Absolutely.
And it deserves the same care and attention.
So true.
Hmm.
Speaking of personal approaches,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what strategies do you use to maintain a healthy relationship with social media?
You know, it's an ongoing process, honestly, but one thing that has helped me is scheduling specific times for social media.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like setting an appointment with myself.
I like that.
That way I'm not just constantly checking it all day long.
That's a great strategy. I've started doing something similar, actually.
Yeah.
Setting aside dedicated time to check social media and trying to avoid those impulsive checks throughout the day.
It takes discipline, though.
It does, but it's worth it.
It's like you're training your brain to resist that urge to be constantly connected.
It's so true.
And I've also been trying to be more intentional about who I follow.
Yeah?
Like really curating my feed to include accounts that inspire me, make me laugh, or teach me something new.
I love that. It's like creating a personalized online space that reflects your values.
Yes. And I've also been incorporating more digital detox breaks into my week.
Detox breaks, nice.
Even if it's just for a couple of hours,
Yeah,
stepping away from the digital world can be so refreshing.
it really can. I find I'm much more present, more focused, more creative when I give myself those breaks.
Me too.
It's amazing how much clarity and peace you can find when you just disconnect from all that noise.
Right. Like hitting that reset button.
Yeah, exactly. And, it all comes back to that core message from the script.
What's that?
Social media's impact really depends on how we use it.
It's a tool.
Yeah,
Like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad, right?
exactly.
We have the power to choose.
We do.
You know, this whole deep dive has really got me thinking about my own relationship with social media.
Yeah, me too.
It's just so easy to get caught up in it all, you know?
I know you mean.
Like the comparison game.
The endless scrolling,
Yeah.
the pressure to be perfect.
It's exhausting.
It is, but I think the script does a good job of offering a hopeful message.
Right.
It's not about demonizing social media.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance,
Being mindful.
prioritizing our well-being.
Yeah. Remember that powerful line at the end of the script?
Your mental health matters.
It's so simple, but so true.
It is.
Like, we need to hear that sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Yeah.
And it deserves the same care and attention.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, here's a thought-provoking question for everyone listening.
Okay.
Think back to the last time social media made you feel genuinely good about yourself. What was it about that experience, and how can you seek out more of those positive interactions?
That's a great question to ponder. Maybe it was connecting with a loved one,
Yeah.
or discovering a new interest, or finding support in an online community.
It's a good reminder that social media can be a source of joy and connection
It can be
when we use it intentionally.
when we make conscious choices.
Well said. This is such a great conversation. I feel like I have a whole new perspective now.
Me too.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, everyone, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed,
Or like social media is having a negative impact on your mental health.
please don't hesitate to reach out for help.
There are resources available and you don't have to go through this alone.
Your mental health matters. Take care.